l'honorable député de Lac-Saint-Louis, l'environnement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to participate in tonight's adjournment debate, otherwise known as the Late Show, and for the benefit of those perhaps watching at home, this is an opportunity for parliamentarians to focus briefly on what might be considered unfinished business of the House prior to adjourning for the day. The unfinished business that I would like to talk about tonight, Mr. Speaker, is in reference to a question I posed to the Minister of Environment on April 1st about the contamination of the Athabasca River being caused by oil sands industry activities. And in his response to my question, the Minister, even though it was a very short response, betrayed his misunderstanding of three areas in particular. One of Dr. Schindler's findings, and Dr. David Schindler's findings, two of the Fisheries Act, and three of the Canada-Alberta Administrative Agreement on the deposit of deleterious substances. And those are the three areas that I'd like to focus on in this very brief debate. There's mounting evidence by very reputable scientists that the oil sands are contaminating the Athabasca River and its tributaries, in other words, the Athabasca watershed. Now, another related aspect of this misunderstanding of the Minister about this science is found in his answer, where he says, first of all, he calls Dr. Schindler's research allegations, which I think is a little disrespectful of one of the world's greatest water scientists. But anyway, he says that Dr. Schindler's findings in a report that he has presented to the Standing Committee on Environment and Sustainable Development, he calls those findings, or he suggests those findings are related only to airborne emissions as opposed to Fisheries Act issues, he says. Now, first of all, it is true that Dr. Schindler's research found a link between oil sands development and the deposit of pollution in the Athabasca coming from particulate matter that is settling in the Athabasca River. There's no doubt about that. But also, Dr. Schindler did mention, and I will quote, Dr. Schindler's research has not only found high contamination of polycyclic aromatics, including several known carcinogens, in snow samples from the Athabasca River near the center of oil sands activity, and also at the bottom of the impacted Athabasca River tributaries. He has also found high concentrations of several contaminants under the ice that are known to be high in tailings ponds at sites that are just downstream of tailings ponds, indicating that there is some effect of tailing pond leakage under winter's low flow conditions. So in other words, not only is pollution being deposited on the river from the air, but also contaminants are found in the water in winter under the ice, which means that these are contaminants coming from the tailings ponds that are leaking into the Athabasca. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Lac-Saint-Louis.
Mr. Speaker, the fact is that the department, the federal government, does not take its enforcement responsibility seriously at all, and this is the problem. The honourable member mentioned the Canada-Alberta Administrative Agreement on the deposit of deleterious substances, but the federal government has been absent, really, from this agreement. And in fact, the Commissioner of the Environment stated only a year ago that the main coordinating committee of this agreement has not met for 3 years. Now, also, the agreement has not been fully implemented. For example, and I'm reading from a note from the Library of Parliament, under Clause 5.2 of the agreement, Canada and Alberta envisioned establishing an arrangement relating to, quote, complementary and cooperative monitoring programs with provisions for information sharing, unquote. However, it appears that no such arrangement was ever concluded. So the government's missing in action on this, and I must remind the honourable member that under the Fisheries Act, one does not have to prove that the ecosystem is damaged, only that deleterious substances are being deposited, whether from air or from water.